Hey film friends, I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Welcome to the channel. Wow, this one is a lot of movie, guys. A genre-bending kind of fever dream which functions as a musical crime thriller about a transgender cartel kingpin. Oh, and it's based on an opera. This is Jacques Audiard's Emilia Pérez. Bingo. Well, I started to say it up top. Audiard is a bold dude who likes to upend expectations and mishmash genres. But I wonder thematically if things are really not that complicated here. I think this film is basically about two things at its core. Number one, grappling with the question of whether or not we can ever truly escape our past. Do our sins find us out? Do we always reap what we sow? Or maybe most significantly, do we get the right to be happy after causing so much harm? And the number two big theme is the unending quest to become completely ourselves, to be fully comfortable in our own skin. A film about identity and purpose and meaning and consequence. Now, besides that, I'll just mention you can also read this as a female-driven story about 3 or even 4 women struggling to find happiness and connection in the world. But in order to talk about what I really liked about this work, I just need you to humor me for a second, as I commit the cardinal sin of comparing two entirely different works. For me, the musical elements of Joker Folie à Deux did not work at all. And that's not the only thing. The whole drab color scheme and almost whispered, low-register talk singing of that film had almost no effect on me, no emotional stakes. Which was pretty much Philip's point, but that's a diatribe for another FOF video. But Emilia Pérez, totally different result for me. The musical numbers contain a few clunkers, but almost all landed emotionally. The extras and set design, the actual dance choreography, the audacious visuals, there are really some standout sequences in this picture which are almost entirely unique. Some critics have actually gone so far as to say this is like watching a new form of the medium, a modern musical, but the way the director uses the camera brings the genre thrillingly to life. I mean, look, here's a 72-year-old dude making pictures that look like the product of someone in their 20s. Then you had really perfectly pitched performances on top of all of the window dressing. Zoe Saldana seemed to be the talking point coming out of the film festivals. She is really solid, a total grounding presence, and who knew she could sing so well? But for me, the discovery was Karla Sofia Gascon. Sure, we can talk about the dual role, but it's her physical presence, her actual frame, the touches of humanity and humor she brings to the roles. All of these allow the more melodramatic flourishes to come off as profound rather than silly or campy. These two women are magnetic in commanding performances. If I had to give a single line review of the prose of Emilia Pérez, Jacques Audiard is a gutsy filmmaker who goes for it unapologetically, and here he's grabbed some really game actresses to put on a show. Look, the good news is that Emilia Pérez is a big, confident flick created by a filmmaker with a unique vision. But the bad news is that Emilia Pérez is a whole lot of movie. And the problem with a whole lot of movie is in order for it to succeed, you've got to hold all the parts and styles and themes in tension. Unfortunately, I just don't think this film gets there. Kudos to Audiard for attempting to tackle a bunch of social issues head on. But the question can be raised whether any of them get full and proper treatment. See, it's not like he is playing with light societal issues here. These are big cultural hot buttons, so we need some time to stew on them and examine them more closely. Instead, we get whiplash from the sudden tonal and thematic shifts. The part of the film, for instance, which is a quiet ode to the many missing in Mexico at the hand of sicarios, is powerful stuff. I would have been in for a whole movie about just this. But that gets sidelined once the film moves into its third act and the family melodrama begins taking center stage. And I'll just say briefly, at the risk of incurring some fans' wrath, you'll notice I praised 2 actresses at the top. Conspicuously absent was the most international star of them all, Selena Gomez. Listen, I'm not saying she's bad, but he's not saying she's good either. I'm just not totally sure what movie she's in. She is notably average in a film that is brimming with bustle and big performances that pack a punch. I'd say she felt out of her league here, but I'm not sure that she can't swim in these depths. Whatever the case, she's clearly the Achilles heel of this cast. Now, let's talk about that ending. Again, competent and not at all bad. But after 2 hours of performances which carry this emotional weight and a handful of genuinely exciting sequences of choreography, the finale is pretty pedestrian. The dramatic storylines kind of go from this glorious muddled mess to mundane conclusions. For a movie that is so confident about its own treatment of identity, being trans is not even an argument here, just a given, it sure struggles with exactly what it wants to be. So, what do we conclude? Emilia Pérez is a daring, visually stunning, and emotionally charged film that shines in its ambition and bold artistry, with standout performances, particularly from Karla, Sofia, Gascon, and Zoe Saldana, whose magnetic presence elevates the material. Jacques Audiard delivers a genre-blending musical crime thriller that, those three words don't go together, that grapples with identity, purpose, and the weight of the past. But its overstuffed themes can feel uneven, leaving some storylines underdeveloped. While its audacity is refreshing, the film's conclusion feels surprisingly mundane after such a wild ride. It's a compelling, if perfect, piece of cinema, well worth a watch for its unique vision and the risks taken. Bingo. Well, there you have it. The only thing left to discuss is our rating for this picture. FOF gives Emilia Pérez 3.3 out of 5 stars. If you enjoyed this review, please let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Also, don't forget to visit FurmanOnFilm.com for even more movie content. And in case you missed it, we've got a podcast now. You can check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We just dropped an episode about the Halloween classic Suspiria. So give it a listen. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Stay firm, my friends.